Hi guys, I'm Joe Garrett. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. Today's going to be a short video just discussing everything new in the world of Neural DSP, as we did get a few small updates recently. I'm going to be discussing three things, and they are the new 1.1.0 plugin updates, CorOS 4.1.0 coming soon, and my hopes for the future of Neural DSP. But before we get into it, I'm going to play some guitar for you. Now, all of the tones in this recording are from the captures that I made of the new presets from the Archetype John Mayer X plugin. I did a whole video on this where I demonstrated the captures that I made of all of the 14 new presets that John Mayer has added to the plugin. So I'll leave a link for that up here and at the end of the video if you want to check that out. Also, head to the Cortex cloud link in the description of this video to download all 14 captures absolutely free. Right, let's get into it, but before we do, please make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss content like this. So we got some news a few days ago from Neural DSP, and it may have been a bit disappointing for those of you that are waiting for the CorOS update, but we did get 1.1.0 versions of Misha Mansour X, Tim Henson X, and Rabea X. Now this is the same update that John Mayer X received recently, and it's more quality of life updates, and I don't think we get added presets like in John Mayer X. That was just John Mayer who did a whole video demoing the plugin and explaining how he thought his original presets were crap. Okay, so let's take a look at what the update involves. So this update brings the quality of life improvements first introduced in Archetype John Mayer X 1.1.0 to Archetype Tim Henson X and Rabea X, along with bug fixes and other improvements for all three plugins. I think that's a mistake there. There should have been Misha X in there as well. Yeah, Misha Mansour X. Okay, I'm pretty sure Misha's one has been updated as well. These plugin updates are also part of our ongoing work to prepare our Quad Cortex compatible plugins for the next CorOS release. We're pleased to say that CorOS 4.1.0 is now in beta, and we will be sharing more news soon. I was going to mention that in the next section, but we'll skim over that for now. Added. Okay, so we've got the undo, redo, Archetype Misha Mansour X, Tim Henson X, and Rabea X. Undo and redo functionality with an edit history, making it easier to experiment with settings and quickly reverse changes. So yeah, that was pretty handy in John Mayer X. Preset Explorer. So this is in Tim Henson X and Rabea X. The Preset Explorer makes browsing and managing presets faster and more intuitive. All preset folders are neatly organized in the left panel with quick access to recently loaded presets. Use the search bar to find exactly what you need, add tags for easier organization, and mark your go-to sounds as favorites. So yeah, it doesn't look like Misha Mansour has that. Maybe that will be updated again at some point. It's weird that it wouldn't have it. Tooltips, Archetype, Tim Henson X, and Rabea X. Again, no Misha Mansour there. I don't know if this is a mistake because up the top it didn't mention Misha Mansour, but it does in the title. I've not actually downloaded them yet. The only one I have is Rabea X because that's the only one of these three plugins that I actually own. Changed the user manual for all three of them. The manual button now opens the online user manual. Freeze controls for Rabea X. Freeze controls now grey out when freeze is off. EQ frequency labels for Tim Henson. EQ external frequency labels now specify hertz instead of bands. And fixes, Misha Mansour, fixed an incorrect tooltip on the modulation mix control, fixed an issue where the EQ and delay text editors could become unaligned when hovered, fixed an issue where the tape echo when the delay time was set near its minimum value, fixed an issue that could cause excessive feedback in the stereo delay. Tim Henson X fixed an issue where boost and blend were out of phase. This may affect the sound of existing presets. Fixed the room reverb output level to ensure consistent output across all channel configurations. And Archetype Rabea X fixed an issue where the delay in single mode disregarded the right input channel. Fixed an issue where the Overlord synth with glide enabled could start from a very low pitch. Fixed the room reverb output level to ensure consistent output across all channel configurations. Now for all three of them, fixed issues identified during the Quad Cortex compatibility development process to ensure consistent sound between the plugins and Quad Cortex. Yeah, that's kind of got to be done, hasn't it? But yeah, those are the updates that are on the website. You can obviously read that yourself. But yeah, that's all of it. Now, we already know that there are some Neural DSP plugins that are never coming to the QC and some that are questionable. Now, I've already made videos on this subject before, so I'm not going to go too deeply into it, but that's not great. Their prices have been changed accordingly though. Now, CorOS 4.1.0. So I've already read the part of the article that explains that it's now in beta. That is good news, and I'd like to hope that the next bit of information that we'll get from Neural is that it's out. Rather than spoon feeding us 1.1.0 updates every now and again, just ship them onto the unit and let us download them. I'm particularly excited for the plugins that I already own, obviously, Rabea X and John Mayer X. The other plugins that I own that are already on the Quad Cortex are Pliny and Gojira, and I use them a lot. Now, I know that I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I've made captures of the presets in John Mayer X, but it's not the same. You know, you're going to have the whole plugin on the Quad Cortex, as well as all the exclusive effects, which you can't capture. And yeah, just everything in there is so customizable. I'm really excited to try out how the free amps work. So you've got the free cabs. Oh no, not just three cabs, 3 amps. Obviously you can blend them in the plugin. I want to see how that works in the Quad Cortex because I don't think there's anything in there that does that yet. I also can't wait for the Rabea X PCOM because when I first tried that plugin out on Ableton, I was blown away by some of the presets. They are awesome. Also, the mono synth, I'm going to have loads of fun with. I think it will really help with creativity, especially when creating my own solo music. Finally, I've made so many videos on the subject, but I just prefer using the QC than recording with plugins nowadays. So the sooner they get them ported over, the better. So, my hopes for the future. There was a long period where people were getting quite frustrated with Neural DSP and there wasn't much news regarding the Quad Cortex. I feel like that's changed now, especially since the end of last year. We got a huge update for the QC, including new effects and new amp models such as the Dumble, which if you've seen my videos before, you'll know that I use it 90% of the time. We then got a plugin from arguably one of the best and most famous guitarists in the world. Following this was a brand new unit in the QC Mini. No, it wasn't an upgrade, but it's proved to be really successful. And I'm secretly quite relieved that it wasn't an upgrade because I'd only just bought the OG QC. We're now getting fairly regular updates and it really seems like Neural DSP are listening to their customers. So really, I just hope it continues. There's a lot of talk right now about capturing capabilities, especially now free versions are available that seem to be performing even better than the V2. But honestly, I just think of capturing as an added bonus on my Quad Cortex. I know people with a Nano aren't going to want to hear that, but personally for me, the Quad Cortex is all about the effects, the amp models, and plugin compatibility. I also think the V2 captures that I've made myself have been excellent, and I struggle to think that I would want more from it. So I'd like to see more amp models going down the route of, like the Dumble, for example. I know we get another Dumble in the John Mayer X plugin, but yeah, keep those boutique valve amps coming. I'd also be happy with some more effects like we've had recently. The Valhalla stuff, there's that Nordic, I can't remember the name of it, but it's based on the Valhalla vintage reverb. Now, I actually use the Valhalla room reverb a lot more than that when I'm producing, so I'd love to see a version of that on there. But yeah, when it comes to the QC, the Nordic is the one that's been at the end of my chain quite a lot. Maybe some more Big Sky influenced reverbs. The Blossom that we got recently was awesome. Regarding archetype plugins, I'm not actually too sure what I could want. My two favourite guitarists, Matthias Asato and John Mayer, already have their own plugins with Neural DSP, and I'm so glad they chose Neural because that's the unit I use. I may be biased because I was in a band with them and I'm good friends with them, but Akhil Kaney and John Brown, I reckon a plugin from them could be of interest. You know, it's down the same sort of lane as a lot of the plugins and they've got their own unique sound. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the small updates that we've been given recently and my hopes for the future. Let's hope these come very soon so that I can show you some new stuff on here. But remember to subscribe so you don't miss it, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Peace.